Welcome, everybody. Today we are talking about how to prevent massage therapy injuries, and we have Dafne and Jessica from Oakworks. If any of you have used Oakworks spa tables, you'll know that they are amazingly comfortable and very versatile, and there are some really amazing features. So thank you to Dafne and Jessica, and we have an interesting topic today. Bienvenidos a todos. Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Dafne, Jessica, over to you.
Thank you. Hola a todos. My name is Dafne Berlanga. I'm the Vice President of International Business Development for Oakworks. And I'm here from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Weather is getting a little bit better now. Everybody working from home. And I'll introduce you to Jessica Wadley.
Hello, my name is Jessica Wadley. I'm the Vice President of Business Development for the USA, and I am in Carlsbad, California today, and our weather's beautiful, of course.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, can you see it, Jessica?
Yes, looks good.
Great. Okay, so today we are going to let me go to my next screen. Wait. Okay, so as Sarah mentioned today, we're going to talk a little bit about preventing massage therapy injuries. Before we go there, I would like to talk a little bit about our company, just so that we will learn where we come from and why we have specialized in ergonomics for our equipment. So actually what you can see here is the front of our factory in New Freedom, Pennsylvania. We started this company 40 years ago. Linda and Jeff Riak started the company, and at the beginning we were manufacturing only massage equipment, massage tables. And we knew from a group of therapists what needed to be done. But as you know, the spa world, the massage world started going in different directions. People wanted more sophisticated equipment. And so more sophisticated equipment had to be developed. Through the years, we went from massage to spa. And then around 20 years ago, we also started working in the medical industry. We are FDA listed company, and we work with different companies around the world to manufacture imaging and ultrasound equipment. Why is this important? It's really important because, as you know, another group of clinicians that also work with repetitive movement in the medical environment are the ultrasound clinicians. They're constantly moving their hands. They need to get really close to the patient. So we partnered with a company called Sound Ergonomics. They create evaluations, and they try to prevent injury in three aspects. Number one, of course, they want to make sure that there is safety in the environment. These ultrasound workers are developing all their work. So safety with viruses, safety with equipment. They need to make sure that every single piece of equipment that they're using is certified, and we'll talk about that. And then ergonomics. They study all the movements of these clinicians and make sure that they can get close, that if they do repetitive movement, they're going to be hurting their shoulders, their necks. And so what Oakworks has done is has translated or has taken advantage of all this knowledge that we have acquired in the medical environment, and we have adapted all of these specifications from Sound Ergonomics into our spa tables. So again, three things that we need to always to consider when doing treatments is, of course, the equipment certifications, equipment ergonomics, and best practices. In this presentation, we're going to be focusing on equipment certification and equipment ergonomics. Okay, wait. Oh, it's not. You cannot see my screen changing, are you? Can you?
I can't see it changing.
What are you seeing?
Just the cover page.
Oh, it's not going. Okay, let me see what's going on here. Okay, sorry. Okay, so that's Oakworks. When I was mentioning to you that that's our factory. And here we go. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on equipment certifications and equipment ergonomics on this presentation. Oh, sorry for that. They're overlapped. They were supposed to be moving one after the other on this presentation. Sorry. So as we mentioned, very important for the equipment that we're manufacturing. Our equipment is made in the USA. Why is that important? What does that have to do with the safety of a therapist? We know that when we are working next to a piece of equipment for more than 7 hours, 8 hours a day, we are being exposed to whatever substances, whatever materials our equipment is made of. So when we know that our products are coming from countries where maybe the foam is not being as regulated as in the United States, maybe when we know that our equipment has been manufactured in an area that is probably not safe for employee working conditions, where there's no standards for air and water and scrap disposition, then we might not know what kind of materials were added to that table. And when we combine, it could be oils, it could be creams into the therapy, we do not know what kind of reactions there's gonna be with these materials and for example, the cover of a table, and what kind of gases we could be exposed to. Another thing that is really, really important is that we are green verifiable. And what does that mean? That means that the wood that we're using for manufacturing your tables is coming from sustainable sources. Actually, we also plant trees. We've planted over 1,200,000 trees through Trees for the Future. But that is also really important for you, because you will know that every single material and every single step of the way into manufacturing your table, we were using green practices. And in fact, Oakworks is the, as far as I know, and as far as I check on the FSC site, you can see there, fsc.org. You can check any company in the industry that manufactures equipment. We are the only ones that is certified as a factory. So very, very important. Now, in terms of electronics, this is something actually quite new to markets like Mexico. You might not know, but since last year, medical equipment has always had to be certified with NOM, la norma mexicana. And now spa equipment has to be certified with a NOM as well. So it's curious how maybe 2 years ago you would see uncertified equipment coming from different countries all over the world, and now it's being held at customs. Why? Because it was not tested. So you were probably working with a table that was emitting radio frequency. Maybe you were working with warming I don't know, like maybe a hot cavity that was emitting radio frequency. Maybe the table was never tested for tipping. So if one of your clients, or if you were putting a lot of effort into an edge of the table would be tipping on one side. Also, the quality systems that were used during the manufacturing of your table was non-existent, so you didn't really understand what kind of electronics were providing in your equipment. So very, very important that from now on, when you buy a piece of equipment in your industry, you have to check that it is ETL or UL tested, because then you will know that there is no interaction between the equipment and you, the equipment and your client, and the equipment and other pieces of equipment as well. So very, very important for your safety and for your health. Again, our tables have been tested for stability, for pinching hazards, and there's all sorts of warning stickers. And in regards to that, it is very, very interesting because a lot of the times when you're checking the specs of a table, it might say that it can sustain the weight of, let's say, 200 kilos or probably 300 kilos. And you decide that you're going to do a treatment on top of the table because the spec says that it can hold your weight and the weight of the customer. But typically, all of these tables do not consider dynamic weight, because Oakworks is a medical company. When we say it can stand 300 or 400 kilograms, that is in dynamic weight, meaning that the table is in movement. And talking about that, that means actually that then it will hold 4 times higher the weight without movement. So you know that you can actually get on top of the table, you can do all sorts of treatments, and the table is going to be safe. You're not going to fall. There's not going to be any type of injury. And we have, now talking about our quality and safety system, we are a company that is being regulated by the FDA, and we're also regulated by companies like General Electric. They come every year to make sure that we're following the standards. And I'm really happy to say that in the last few years, we have had 0 no compliances. So you know that the equipment that you're using is safe to use electrically in terms of workload, no pinching hazards, etc. So it's peace of mind for you. Sorry, again, here are all the pictures in a bunch. Sorry for that. So now, Jessica, if you want to talk a little bit about table ergonomics.
Yes, like Dafne said, we're very passionate about our safety and ergonomics for the therapists. We know that a huge part of every single spa director's job is managing therapists, and of course the heart that we have for them and making sure that they are safe. So we have various access end panels. I think we have some other images. I'll go there in a minute, but it's really important that the therapists have great access to all the points of the table, around the table, electric lift tables, as much as we can, as much as the budget is able to handle the electric lift tables where we can. We're not always able to do that in outside environments, but electric lift tables as much as we can so they can adjust the height on the fly. I think we all know that, but it's good to reiterate as well. Sometimes we go into spas all over the world and they have stationary tables underneath some of the linens. And so if that is a place that you're at, please feel free to consult us. There's various price points that we do have that are very accessible when it comes to electric lift tables as well. Choice of controllers, very important. Sometimes we make errors with controllers when we're ordering our equipment. Do we have a foot control? Do we have a hand control? I always recommend, and Dafne always recommends, having both available to the therapist, just because you never know what's going to be preference. And for those of you who are running large properties who have, you know, multiple estheticians and multiple massage therapists, you never know what their preference is going to be. So we've really done a lot in our advancement in our recent product launches. We just include both as standard, but it's one of those things to think about with multiple controllers. And then we go to the next slide. This is a phenomenal tool. We can send this out to you. I would say probably about 4 years ago, there was huge trends coming out in spa about low height tables. And at that time, all of the manufacturers were rushing because all of the spa directors, and rightfully so, wanted low height tables, wanted tables with cabinets, wanted to be able to fit a hot towel cabbie in them, and, you know, all of your lens and all of your bolsters. And so that was a real challenge. And why do you want low height tables as it relates to A, safety with the therapist, and also B, safety with the guest? There is a lot of properties, especially throughout the world, that have very petite therapists. And so for your petite therapist, we want to make sure that we have low height tables as much as possible, especially when they are performing deep tissue work. So For the sake of time today, there is a chart that's posted here. We have a chart that's posted by modality: deep tissue, Swedish, standing energy work, any type of Traeger work or energy work. And then that is organized by height of the therapist and where you should strive to be within your height. So we think about these things. There's the stroke of the table is what we call it, and how low and how high does it go. Typically, you know, you want to be, and it just varies again with the property, but I would say anywhere between 20 to 34, 35 inches in stroke when it comes to height to protect that therapist. This data was actually summarized by our research and development team, but the data behind that comes from years of us working with the American Massage Therapy Association as well. This is really exciting. This is new accessories that have been introduced to prevent micro injuries. What you're seeing here on the screen is specifically related to aesthetics. So you're seeing this little panel that's inserted here on the table. And if you notice, it just inserts into the dowels as it would, or the grommets as it would in your table. And it allows for your table to immediately be converted into a multi-treatment aesthetics table. And if you notice, that particular piece is very thin in design. Why do we want that? Because we want the therapist or the esthetician's hands to be perfectly parallel against the treatment, so that, you know, her shoulders are relaxed, and we have, again, some dimensions that we can share with you. And then the guest head actually almost sits directly into the esthetician's lap. So Dafne mentioned earlier, this was really born from us being in the health and medical field. This was actually born from some spas who did not have Oakworks tables, and they came to us because they had improper ergonomics in their spa, and they were facing lawsuits from their therapist in North America. Again, those were Oakworks tables, but we designed this for a particular property, and we consulted very high-end sound ergonomics. So just really important when you're shopping for your tables. Of course, you want beautiful tables. Of course, you want things that are going to be a designer piece, but so much more important than that, you really want a medically certified table that has been well thought of when it comes to ergonomics. It will save you, it could save you potentially, you know, thousands and thousands and millions of dollars, both in liability and, of course, again, keeping our therapists safe in that environment. So this is something new. Mexicaribe is saying it first, actually, you will see more of this that's coming out. It is readily available. Definitely see Dafne or myself for this, and we'll be able to give you more detail. But we're sure excited for this. It's inexpensive. It's really easy to remove during the treatment, etc. With the ABC system, also, I'm sure a lot of you have seen this. This is our own patented design. We were the first to market with this. There has been some others that have tried to come out after, but it was invented actually by a woman. There's 10 years of research and development in this. The dimensions have been proven also to have proper safety for the therapist. So very important to note. It's a full electric lift. It was expensive when it first launched. Well, it started going out in 99% of our tables. And so we were really able to value engineer that and get the cost down. And so it's really almost, it should be a standard feature in all tables. How is it? One, you can see from the pictures that it is obviously life-changing for the guest. Women with large breasts, women with small breasts, males love it. If you have golfing properties, if you have properties that you're hosting athletes, men love it too. So it's not just for men or females. But what we're finding is that the therapists really like it, because when you raise that platform above the table, you're actually taking some of that workload off of the therapist, because they're not having to have to simultaneously hold the head and then also perform those manipulations. So that has been some of the feedback that we've gotten, which then thereby helps promote proper body mechanics and just takes some of their workload off of them. So there's just some really amazing things out right now that we're seeing to help preserve those bodies. Your therapists love it. They're not coming to you. They're not complaining anymore. They're coming to you raving. They're not coming in your office. So this has been really, really dynamic. One thing that I heard from Mona Pershon, that she's not on the call today, and we don't have this rolled up scientifically, is that also when that breastplate lowers to a flat area, or excuse me, even a little bit lower, we're seeing less of a workload on the therapist too when they're performing work on the back, simply because there's a little bit more give and they don't have to work as hard. So we've been getting that great feedback from, and that was her genius thought from one of the Marriott properties in Laguna Cliff. So I hope this makes sense. We're going fast today because we have a sake of time. We want to honor our time, but we're all available to have any of these detailed conversations with you after.
This is so important. I don't know if you don't mind, I'll repeat a little bit really quickly in Spanish, if that is okay.
Yes, please.
En esta parte queremos detenernos un poquito porque creo que es muy importante, es algo completamente diferente a lo que ya hay en el mercado. Entonces, el sistema ABC es un sistema patentado de Oakworks que comenzamos a utilizar hace ya unos años y el 99% de las mesas que nosotros estamos fabricando lo llevan. Entonces, de principio parece, pues sí, es muy confortable para las mujeres, también es para los hombres y es muy atractivo para los clientes. Definitivamente hemos visto que ya empezamos a ver demanda de este tipo de mesa por parte del cliente. Pero para el terapeuta esto es muy, muy interesante porque como pueden ver, o sea, sí baja y entonces es muy, muy, muy cómodo, pero también sube. Y cuando funciona como una especie de almohadilla, entonces el acceso que hay para poder hacer manipulaciones bajo el cuello es muy interesante porque entonces ya no somos nosotros los que estamos haciendo el esfuerzo para poder levantar ese peso. Entonces eso por supuesto que facilita y disminuye un poco el potencial de poder tener algún dolor en la espalda o en el cuello. De igual forma, se puede utilizar como una especie de elevación en la parte pectoral y entonces igual también permite tener acceso a diferentes áreas sin que sea el terapeuta el que esté levantando y haciendo el esfuerzo para levantar al cliente. Entonces, lo que mencionaba Jessica también es que cuando están en posición prona, también la espalda baja un poco, en vez de estar curva, está plana y eso también permite que los movimientos sean un poco más fluidos y que haya menos esfuerzo por parte del terapeuta. Okay, sorry, Jessica, your turn.
That sounds so much more beautiful in Spanish. We should just carry on in Spanish.
I'm doing fast because I know we're short on time. Okay.
Go ahead, Daphne. I think this one's yours as well.
Okay, yes. So, okay, another thing that is really interesting is foam. Foam is so important. Maybe when we're purchasing a table, a lot of people don't pay attention to that, and we get a little bit excited about the hype of memory foam, and because we love memory foam, but what we need to think about is, yes, it needs to be soft for the client, but it has to be firm enough so that when you are gliding your hands in between your client and the table, you don't need to put a lot of effort. What happens when you have a low quality foam or when you have a memory foam? Then your hands will not glide really easily, and then there's going to be some resistance that you're going to encounter, and that's going to make you put much more effort into the treatment. You're going to get tired, and well, at the end of the day, you have micro injuries. So potentially, instead of having a work life of 6 years, I don't know, and here I'm just making a number, now you'll go to 4 years before you start going into therapy yourself. So these little tips, you know, even the foam is really, really important when you are selecting a table. So another thing that it's also very interesting, and now in this section, we're actually going to talk a little bit about what's happening today with COVID. So very, very important from now on that your tops, if possible, and really recommended, are medical grade tops. And at Oakworks, we are offering a certification to 10993 that not only checks for cytotoxicity, skin irritation, and sensitization, but this medical grade fabric, it has been tested with disinfecting products that have been approved by the CDC and for cleaning and disinfecting from COVID. So very important to keep you safe and to keep, of course, your clients safe, to be able to have a material that you know that you're going to be able to clean client after client after client. The product is not going to disintegrate, the cover is not going to break, there's not going to be space for bacteria to start growing into, you know, the little cracks of the fabric. And then the other thing is, well, we would recommend that if possible from now on, when you select a table, the heating system, it's already embedded in the table. Why? It's going to be easier for you to clean. There's going to be a lot less maneuvering and making sure that you put a cover or linens. So a lot less maneuvering, reduce the labor when turning that treatment room, and then making sure that you're going to be safe, as typically, you know, the cover will be super easy to clean. So we also know that some of these materials are not only going to be safe for cleaning, but we're also adding new technology in terms of the heating technology that is going to reduce the damage from repeated exposure to high temperatures. We have created new technology that caps that heat at 104 degrees Fahrenheit instead of 175. Where you could pretty much burn yourself if you were not careful when you were setting up the warming table. And now we're going to talk a little bit about the heated drawers. These also, we think that it's important in terms of keeping the therapy safe, because we have also controlled and we have limited the amount of heat that these drawers can emit. So if you're heating stones, for example, if you're heating other tools, you're not going to have the danger of touching the heated drawer and having an injury. So it's super safe to use. And then another thing that might be interesting is the function of tilting. When you are able to tilt the table, and there's a number of tables out there, several from Oakworks, several from other companies, it's going to be able to help you reinforce the proper body mechanics. So you're going to be, there's going to be a lot of less bending, and you're going to be able to have different types of positions where you're not going to have a lot of effort into your body. And so we know that when we have happy therapists, we have great treatments. The quality and the health of the therapist is really important for an outcome in a massage. So here we can see just a few of the projects that we've worked on. And here we want to share a little bit some of our tables so that you can take a look at what are the differences between different structures. So very important in all of them, you can see that at the bottom there is access for the feet to prevent tripping. Always the bottom section of the table, the base, has to be a little bit narrower than the top of the table so that you can move freely around the table. We can see there's, for certain treatments, it might be a little bit easier to work when there's no cabinets, when it's just two towers and it's free, that section there. And then if there's no space for keeping all your things, and we also have those cabinets where you can store items. So here we are also going to see something that I thought was very interesting from the ultrasound tables and from the medical environment. I wanted to show this echocardiography table because when I saw this table for the first time 5 years ago, I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's like heaven. We know that in Latin America, we do a lot of treatments like radio frequency, like cavitation. And typically when we go for training, half of the training is how to position your client to be able to use the transducers. And so we put a lot of towels, and then we put pillows, and we try to keep our clients on an inclination position. And Oakworks already had these products that are typically used in the ultrasound environment. And what is a cavitation but an ultrasound piece of technology? So there's already these technologies that give you really great access and provide really great comfort for your clients. So if your spa is doing these kind of therapies, feel free to ask for information on these medical tables. They can also be used in a medical aesthetics environment. And talking again about COVID, this is going to be really important because instead of using pillows, using towels, using linens, well, you just have a table that is going to make it really easy for you to operate, and the turnover of that room is going to be pretty fast because there's not a lot of cleaning to do. And then finally, we just wanted to show a little bit of our newest tables. These tables are the Masters Collection, and here are two examples. You're going to be able to enjoy all of the different technologies that we just mentioned, from very comfortable foams, easy to maneuver. You're going to have that access from all sides. You can have Trendelenburg. At the fifth level, we have really good access, so there's no tripping hazards as well. And then again, ETL tested, UL tested, and we're using medical grade covers. So again, I'm just stressing that because we feel like we've been hearing this in a number of different conversations, but the treatment room has kind of become a hospital room in terms of sanitization. So from now on, we will need to make sure that the products that we're using are easy to clean and that we're cleaning them with the right products. I don't know, Jessica, do you have anything else to add to this? You're muted.
No, I think it was very good. Happy to spend time with everybody today. There was a lot that we released that was new. It was hitting me as you were talking, Dafne, that no one's heard before. So breaking news on Mexico Ribe, a lot of new innovations that are coming out.
Thank you, Sarah.
Fantastic. That's amazing information. Thank you, ladies. I did want to ask the height chart that you demonstrated with the different types of massage treatments versus the height of the therapist and what's ideal for the table. Do you have that available in metric for everybody who's not used to working with feet and inches and would like it in centimeters, meters, for example?
Not immediately, but we can work on that. That's not a problem.
That would be amazing. And if we can share it with the region, I think that having it in metric would be really beneficial to help therapists learn what height they should work with. Because I'm not sure that many therapists, certainly in this part of the world, have ever seen a chart like that, which I think would be very useful.
Definitely, and it's common. People really don't know what height they should be using at different tables, and what we see is that they feel comfortable at a height with certain massage, and then they just keep performing different types of energy treatments with the same height, and there's a little bit of a difference, and maybe your body doesn't feel it at the beginning, but as years pass, it's definitely something that can become, something to worry about.
Definitely, we want to make sure therapists stay healthy and look after their bodies throughout their careers. One question about the ABC system. You mentioned that now it's on nearly all of the beds. Is that correct?
I'm trying to think. I think it's pretty much on every bed. We even have it on the portable tables. There maybe might be 2 or 3 models where we don't have it, but the plan is to end the year with pretty much all of the tables with the ABC system. So we started with the Masters collection, then we went into a lower price, more affordable, the Performa Lift, and now we just launched Prema, so now you know another new thing for
another breaking news.
So we are launching a new table, and it's gonna have also the ABC system, and the price it's incredible, and you're going to be able to have all the different options from a high-end piece of equipment. So it's really exciting. The few people that we've mentioned these two private sessions, they're raving. It's a great product coming.
Excellent. Hi again, I'm back. So I think that you have done such a good job of explaining all of the details here that I don't believe we have any questions, but if anybody does have a question, please either raise your hand or write that in the chat. We're gonna come off of Facebook Live, but we'll still be here on Zoom for a moment more if anybody does have any questions. Thanks for watching, everybody on Facebook.